Hey up everyone, hope we're all doing well. So it seems as though Nate Diaz wants to make a return to the UFC. And just before I show what he said and who he plans on fighting, guys, if you want to keep up to date with UFC news, make sure to drop a sub. But anyways, let's get straight into it. So here we have it on the HJR podcast. Nate Diaz reveals that he wants to return to the UFC for the Conor McGregor trilogy or a fight with Max Holloway or Ilia Topuria for the BMF title. What he actually says, I plan on going back to the UFC. Me and Conor for sure got unfinished business. It's got to happen. I'd like to fight Max Holloway or Ilia Topuria for the BMF. Now, obviously, Diaz has been gone for a while. If we look here, this is his record. The last time he fought in MMA, obviously he's had a boxing bout against Jake Paul and Masvidal. The last time he fought in MMA was in the UFC almost 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, against Tony Ferguson. That was his last appearance. He won. That was meant to be against Hamzat. Thank fuck for Diaz, that wasn't the case, but he was meant to fight Hamzat. Got the win against Tony Ferguson. But when was the last time we saw him and McGregor in the octagon? Almost a decade ago. Next year, it'll be a decade since the whole thing went on between him and Conor McGregor. The first fight happened in March 2016. The second fight happened in August 2016. And now, apparently, it's time for the trilogy. Now, don't get me wrong. I think it would do numbers. I think you'd be stupid to deny that it wouldn't do numbers. But it's gone past its gone past its sell-by date. It's out of date at this point. Diaz doesn't really have as much momentum as he used to 10 years ago. He's still a big name though, and McGregor certainly doesn't have that momentum after coming off like 2 losses, constantly on the fucking he's on the piss all the time. It just wouldn't really. I mean, you could make it happen. He has said previously that he would only stay loyal to the UFC. He would only fight for the UFC when it comes to MMA. He just has a loyalty towards the UFC. They are the biggest MMA company in the world, so it makes a lot of sense. But do we ever see McGregor coming back? No. If Diaz comes back, I don't know. They could make the fight. They can always make that fight. They say they got unfinished business, but come on, guys. If you really wanted it that badly, it would have been made within the last 10 years. You were able to make the rematch fucking just a few months later than March. You know what I mean? And then he goes on to say about how, you know, he wants either Holloway or Ilia Topuria. Now, realistically, he's not getting the Ilia Topuria fight. Topuria's fighting for the fucking lightweight title. Nate Diaz is not getting up there for that. But I could see a world, even though I wouldn't agree with it, I could see a world where they do Nate Diaz and Max Holloway. I'm not taking the piss. It may sound stupid, but with how the matchmaking's been going for the UFC, I mean, guys, did you forget that Nick Diaz, I know I'm on about the different brother, the older brother, Nick Diaz was scheduled to fight Vicente Luque just fucking December time, after he looked awful against Robbie Lawler in the rematch, and has been out for God knows how long. They actually tried to match him up with Vicente Luque, so don't get me wrong, I know Vicente Luque isn't on the level of Max Holloway, but I'm just saying, the UFC when it comes to matchmaking, they're a bit pissed up themselves. It's like they're Conor McGregor when it comes to matchmaking, just constantly on the piss and don't know what to do. I mean, they're planning on doing Yair Rodriguez versus Volkanovski too, which nobody fucking wants and shouldn't be happening. They're giving O'Malley a rematch after doing fuck all. The matchmaking is in a bit of a shambles in my opinion. Oh, you got fucking Talison Tahira after a UFC debut headlining a fucking fight night card with a crowd against veteran Derek Lewis. Like, the matchmaking's fucking baffling. But anyways, before I start ranting about that like I've just kind of gone on to do, I could actually see Nate Diaz and Max Holloway, 2 big names, would be a fun fight, even though Max Holloway would absolutely shred him, but they wouldn't do Topuria and Nate Diaz, even though the build-up would be quite funny. Come on, that build-up would be fucking quality, 10 out of 10 build-up, but Holloway, I could see him actually doing low-key, but even then, although I could see a scenario where they would do Max Holloway and Nate Diaz, ultimately, I don't think they would. I think the most realistic option here is the Conor McGregor trilogy, and even then, that kind of feels unrealistic to me because it's been so long since we saw the first 2 fights. So if Nate Diaz comes back, what would the UFC have him do? Because they wouldn't want to waste him. I couldn't see him being, you know, I don't think Nate Diaz would be like, yeah, I'll fight Rafael Fiziev or Ignacio Bahamondes. You know what I mean? I don't think he'll do that. Maybe Justin Gaethje, maybe Paddy. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Again, would he deserve it? Would he fuck? But I could see where the UFC would maybe do that. Maybe Nate Diaz and Charles Oliveira. I could see some shit like that. You know what the UFC are like. Again, I am not agreeing with it, but I just feel like if he were to come back, he's still somewhat of a big name. I don't know how old he is. Is he late 30s? Is he 40? I don't exactly know. I don't know what the crack is, but guys, what do you make of this? Do you want to see Nate Diaz back? Who do you think he would fight next? How do you think he would get on? Guys, let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.